Alright, I'm just gonna freeball this shit because I had a joke planned for the beginning, but I realized I would have to play through almost 5 fucking hours of a game in order to make the joke that was going to be at most 6 seconds. So let's just start the fucking video. Lost Technology is a Japanese freeware game that was translated and marketed in the West, supposedly within this year. See, I say supposedly because I swear to God I had this game for over 2 years, but I don't remember buying it. In fact, I don't remember when I first played it. Alright, so this is me being a dumbass and misreading something, but the game came out in 2017, and it only recently was fully translated, mostly. Now, I'm not saying that I am the perfect guide to playing this game, but what I am saying is that the Dunning-Kruger effect might as well be my middle name. Lawrence August Dunning-Kruger Effect Job. Yeah, that's good. Comedy gold. You see, I bring no falsehoods, just a lot of guesses. Guesses about the story, and guesses about the gameplay, because that's all this game is. You can just guess. The story. Honestly, I don't really know that much about the story, because it needs to be slowly pieced together, not just through the translation, but also in the fact that you have to play almost each and every faction to figure out what the fuck is going on. And, I'm not winning a game as the Dragon Knights of Fafnir, alright? But I will piece together what I do know so far. The world has been locked in a never-ending war for as long as anyone can remember. If we go by the demon's account, maybe 1,000 years or more. Every race has regressed due to the never-ending war, and what was once considered everyday things are now lost technology.
He said it! He said it!
That's pretty much the entire backstory. Nobody really knows the history. The lizardmen think that they might have been nuked into a post-apocalypse. Yeah, this is where this game's going. Either way, let's get on to the factions. First, the main characters. The Rhinold Empire. The Rhinold Empire is the most familiar faction to many of us as they are based off the current day United States, as in all the elites in this faction care about the nation's youth. They really, really care about them. They also choose to spend their time sticking their hands in everybody else's business. Oh, and their adherence to the doctrine of superior firepower. Their past 2 emperors died from turbo AIDS, and now they are led by a 14-year-old girl, so it can be assumed that this nation has been abandoned by God. Next up is Musket. They're named Musket because their leader has a musket. Yeah, they're real creative with the names, aren't they? This has turned this literal frozen backwater into a world power overnight. Technically, Lars is the main character because people won't shut the fuck up about him. He also has a wolf girl that is in love with him, and he returns that love by making her watch as he plows his childhood friend every night. In the desert comes a religious group called Cassis. They're the standard Arabic faction, sponsored in full by the smooth, bold taste of Marlboro cigarettes. Their specialty is mustard gas, having the most annoying comrades to fight against in the whole game, and getting curb stomped by the furries. North of the desert are the Knights of Cunts. Yes, it's pronounced that way. They're the good boys who want justice and peace and equality of all races, and they're led by Griffith. Look, even Guts and Casca are there. This'll end well. The last all-human faction are the Dragon Knights of Fafnir. Their leader, Scarlet, has maybe the most intricate ability in the entire game, running right into enemy forces and dying immediately. They also have the worst starting position in the entire game, making their playthrough a careful gambit to try and lose a little bit slower each time. The elves are elves. Lion, better known as Rainforest 2024, somehow ends up taking over at least half the map each game I play. It's said that they have a shortage of males and there is mostly women in this faction. You know what that means. Why is it every time furries get involved with something, breeding becomes the focal point? God damn it. Portkara. Fucking nailed it. Are Greek dwarves that take the role of the faction that dies at either turn 2 or turn 3. Their main goals are to stop communism and explain why it's not gay for them to have sex with men, because the women look like men too. On an island in the southeast of the map, the kingdom of Gug has stood strong for over a millennia. Now they face their greatest challenge yet: a white woman. This faction has a lot of buffs for the units, and they need those buffs because, if you didn't know, frogs aren't very good fighters. Makan is the race of lizardmen who can only be described in two ways. 1. Thermonuclear Islamophobic Crusader gladiators. 2. A lizardman covered in head to toe in full armor, able to use spears, claws, shuriken, and swords freely, understands speech but doesn't talk, follows Hissa like a shadow, keeping constant guard, a universally feared hunter who wastes no actions. Showing no emotions, he causes unease even among other lizardmen. Can outperform even Hissa, the leader of the lizardmen, in combat. Alcatraz is the most accepting of all the factions, as in anyone is allowed to join. So long as you're either a rapist, drug dealer, or child murderer, you are welcome. Their unique traits are having the second most annoying comrades to fight against in the game, and their story focuses on female elf Jeffrey Epstein as she gathers more workers for her business. The last faction is the most evil, committing the worst sin any form of governance could, letting women into positions of power. Crime is a matriarchal society where male demons are considered second-class citizens. The strongest male leaders aren't even allowed to attend meetings to represent their male constituents. Now, this may come as a shock to some of you, but a society completely run by women is a total fucking mess, and the demons would much rather attack, mutilate, and humiliate one another than do anything. In regards to the ongoing wars, they just don't give a shit and would rather continue to kill one another rather than get involved. They will, however, invade the continent if one faction gets close enough to uniting all the provinces, because God told them to not let the war ever end. Those are the main factions, but there are also many side characters that can be recruited for money, recruited by progressing the story, or recruited by razing their homes to the ground and forcing them to join you. These characters include, but are not limited to, the Slug, Woman Who Fucks Frogs, the Frog the Woman Fucks, Lucy Leukemia, Short Stack Queen, Kirschbait, Jimmy, and much, much more. The game is esoteric at best, or just plain broken at its worst. The game is made by Japan, who still abides by the ancient Bushido code of having a shitty UI. Wanna buy a comrade? You better know the exact socio-economic factors that would lead to them joining your army. Don't know why you can't buy a comrade? The game won't tell you, but it's best to just assume that either they or you are racist and move on. Did your army just get wiped by an army one fraction of its size? Too bad, dipshit, should've looked at the numbers. Now, if you have autism, this might just be right up your alley. But I don't have that form of autism. My autism draws me towards demonic neophims whose only existence is to make me happy. The art style is pretty good. The character artist, Agaharis, has done a really good job at making the designs for most of the main characters interesting and unique. The designs fit well together and remind me a lot of the old Final Fantasy art. The soundtrack is about 6 songs. If you play this game for more than an hour, you will get the main theme stuck in your head. And speaking of getting sound stuck in your head, the sound design is not that great, to be honest. It leaves a bit to be desired. Almost every named character in this game is voice acted in Japanese, and the voice acting ranges from Alice soft tier to the Snake. The voices also have a neat tendency to overlap, especially right at the start of the battle or when multiple comrades are using abilities. This gets very fun when all the sounds are overlapping over one another and blows your goddamn eardrums out. So that is pretty much everything for now. Should you play Lost Technology? Absolutely. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. Remember, this is a game of guesses and inferences. You may come to a totally separate conclusions to me about the story or the gameplay. Just remember, I did not lie. I merely shielded you from harmful truths. Please subscribe and like the video, comment about the car passing by, comment about how the succubus makes you act up, or that I am an idiot because I forgot to read off part of the fucking script again.